When you think of Germany, what comes to mind? Cutting-edge engineering, beautiful castles, a strong economy? But what if I told you that amidst this prosperity, you'll find people on the streets asking for money? It's a side of Germany that often surprises visitors and even some locals. Why, in one of the world's richest countries, do people resort to begging? Today, we're diving deep into the complex reality of begging in Germany, exploring the reasons behind it, the laws that govern it, and the human stories that are often overlooked. Stick around, because the answers might not be what you expect. First, let's get one thing straight. Yes, there are beggars in Germany, especially in larger cities like Berlin, Hamburg, or Munich. You might see someone sitting quietly with a cup, or perhaps hear someone playing an instrument with a hat out for coins. The sight can be jarring against the backdrop of a thriving European nation. So, what's really going on? The reasons are as diverse as the people themselves. For many, it's a direct result of personal hardship. Imagine losing your job, your savings running out, and suddenly finding yourself unable to afford rent. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. It's the reality for people who fall through the cracks of the social safety net. Take someone like Claude, a man from Cameroon who came to Germany with dreams of a better life. He worked, he paid his rent, but a sudden job loss sent his life into a spiral. Without a stable income, he couldn't keep his apartment. He ended up on the streets, and begging became his only way to get enough money for a meal or a night in a cheap hostel. His story isn't unique. There's also Cecilia, who after a series of personal crises found herself without a home or a job. For them, begging isn't a choice. It's a last resort for survival. They represent a group of people facing genuine poverty, homelessness, and a desperate struggle to make ends meet in a country where the cost of living can be unforgivingly high. Another significant factor is migration within the European Union. Germany is part of the EU, which guarantees freedom of movement for its citizens. This means a person from Romania, Bulgaria, or any other EU country can legally come to Germany. However, freedom of movement doesn't automatically mean access to social benefits. Many migrants, particularly from Eastern European countries, arrive hoping for work, but find it difficult to secure a job without the right skills, language proficiency, or connections. They might not be eligible for social welfare right away, leaving them in a difficult limbo. For some, especially from marginalized communities like the Roma, begging becomes a means of survival while they navigate this new and often challenging environment. They are legally in the country, but without a support system, they are left vulnerable. Let's talk about one of the biggest drivers of homelessness and consequently begging, the housing crisis. You might think a wealthy country like Germany has plenty of housing for everyone, but that's far from true. In major cities, affordable housing is incredibly scarce. Rents have been skyrocketing for years, pushing low-wage earners, unemployed individuals, and even people with steady but modest incomes to the brink. When you can no longer afford your apartment, and the waiting lists for social housing are years long, where do you go? The streets. This lack of affordable housing is a structural problem that directly contributes to the number of people you see begging. It's not just about individual failure. It's about a systemic issue that leaves the most vulnerable behind. Now, we need to address a much darker side of this issue: organized begging. This is where things move from personal hardship to criminal exploitation. Police across Germany have uncovered organized rings, often run by criminal groups, that force people into begging. These groups are ruthless. They traffic vulnerable individuals, sometimes from other countries, and force them to beg for long hours, taking almost all the money they collect. The victims are often people with disabilities, like amputees, or individuals who are easily controlled and manipulated. These criminal organizations will strategically place them in high-traffic areas to maximize profits. This isn't begging. It's modern slavery. When you see this, you're not seeing someone trying to get by. You're seeing a victim of a serious crime. German authorities take this very seriously, and breaking up these rings is a major focus for law enforcement. So, with all these different scenarios, what does the law say? Is begging illegal in Germany? The simple answer is no, not entirely. In principle, quiet, non-aggressive begging, what they call Stillsbetteln, is generally permitted. If someone is sitting peacefully with a sign or a cup, they are not breaking the law. However, German law gives municipalities the power to regulate begging to maintain public order. This means that while begging itself isn't a crime, certain forms of it are widely prohibited. What kind of begging is banned? First, aggressive begging. This includes actively following people, verbally harassing them, blocking their path, or making them feel intimidated or unsafe. This is a clear line that, when crossed, can result in police intervention. Another common prohibition is begging with children, specifically those under the age of 14. This rule is in place to protect children from exploitation and to ensure they are in school, not on the streets. Then there's organized begging. As we discussed, any form of begging that is part of a criminal enterprise is illegal and prosecuted harshly. Finally, cities can ban begging in specific locations, like on public transport or in a way that obstructs traffic, to ensure public safety and smooth operation of services. If someone is caught engaging in these prohibited forms of begging, the police can issue a fine or an order to leave the area. The focus is less on punishing poverty and more on preventing public nuisance and criminal exploitation. Given all these challenges, what support is available? Germany is famous for its comprehensive social welfare system. In theory, no one should have to be on the streets or beg for survival. The system includes unemployment benefits, housing assistance, and other forms of social support. There are also numerous non-profit organizations and religious groups that run emergency shelters, soup kitchens, and counseling services. These places offer a warm bed, a hot meal, and a point of contact for people who need help getting back on their feet. So, if these systems exist, why are people still begging? The reality is that accessing these services can be difficult. There can be bureaucratic hurdles, language barriers, or a lack of awareness that these resources are even available. Some individuals may suffer from mental health issues or addiction, which can make it incredibly challenging to navigate the paperwork and appointments required to receive aid. Others may feel a sense of shame or mistrust towards state institutions and prefer to stay off the grid. For EU migrants who don't yet qualify for benefits, these official channels are often closed off completely. So while the safety net is there, it has holes and people are falling through. The support systems are a crucial part of the solution, but they are not a perfect fix for a deeply complex social issue. So, the next time you're in Germany and see someone asking for money, remember the story is rarely simple. You might be looking at someone who lost their job, a migrant trying to find their footing, a victim of the housing crisis, or, in some cases, a person being exploited by a criminal ring. The presence of begging in a wealthy country like Germany is a powerful reminder that prosperity doesn't automatically erase poverty, and that social systems, no matter how robust, can still leave people behind. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, rooted in personal tragedy, economic pressures, and systemic challenges. Thanks for watching and joining us on this deep dive. It's a topic that deserves more attention and understanding. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content that explores the world around us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.